Can we scoot this back a little bit? All right. Laptop. What time did we start? Starting at 9:08. Okay. All right. Cool. Okay. Can we angle this or something? Maybe there? There we go. Maybe, can we go here with it? Here with it? No? Not getting that look and that feel that I'm used to, like that, yeah. But if we angle it to about here, no, you still don't see. See, that's nice and convenient because it's like, yeah. But then I cover the, okay. Well, maybe we just do it like this from here out. About right there. Yeah. Honestly, it's the best look. It's crazy. But okay, I guess that's the look we're going for. And in that case, we can turn this off. Well, this can just be a light up for me. Is that too bright? No. Okay, this is great light, actually. What up, Joel? What up, Joel? Where's my coffee? Water, coffee. What is this? Oh, Florida Po. Dun, 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 bum, bum. What's poppin', man? How's everybody doing? Remember, we filter out the trolls with the quick likes. 3 dots here or here. Hit the like button. Rule out the trolls. See what kind of fun we can get into tonight. Soul Batik. I've heard a lot of people mentioning that fragrance lately. What's poppin', everybody? Tell me how you're doing, man. I want to know how y'all are doing, bro. Don't leave me hanging. Dun 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 dun. I was busy all day. Didn't go into any live chats. You're the only one today. Really? There were so many people live, Joel? So many people live. Ba-dum bum bum. Ba-dum bum bum. Boom boom boom. Boom boom. Ba-dum bum boom. Ba-dum bum boom. Ba-dum bum boom. Ba-dum bum. Who's gonna break the ice here? Who's gonna break the ice and ask me something good? What up, JN? I'm gonna keep that scent around for a while. Boom, 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 boom. Hey, if y'all ain't got questions yet, hit me with the scent of the days in the chat. Scent of the days. Give me something. We got, or this might be a short live. Scent of the day. I want to know what you're wearing in the chat. My scent of the day was the first fragrance I ever purchased. Let me show y'all this. Scent of the day was the first fragrance I purchased ever over 20 years ago. And it was Marc Jacobs for men. And this is the original juice. As you can see, I've cashed a lot of it. This is the first fragrance I ever purchased as a kid over 20 years ago. Amazing, right? And honestly, don't ask me why I had this fragrance as a 16-year-old, because it is way more suited for my age today than it ever has been. But man, this was ringing out in the cold today. I love it. I love it. More than Cedrat Boisé. More than Cedrat Boisé. Now this fragrance right here, Fico di Amalfi. So good. So good. Man, I want to be put... I'd be wanting to put these on while I'm streaming. Ba-dum-bum-bum. Scent of the day, Bentley Absolute. Bentley Absolute's amazing. By the way, if you're in the chat, hit the three dots right here or the three dots right here to run the likes up so we can get the trolls out. You know they always pop out at night. I love Bentley Absolute. Absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. Woo! Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I think Aqua de Parma actually trumps Byredo by a long shot. What up, Mike? New purchases. Those are recent purchases. Those aren't new purchases. I'm kind of just, since it's taken a little bit to get everybody in here asking questions, I'm just showing you guys fragrances, man. A lot of people know what I have, but quite honestly, a lot of you guys have no clue what I have because I have new fragrances all day, every day. Like, did you know that I have this one right here? This was new to me. This sucker right here, Moschino Pour Homme. Y'all are so used to looking at Toy Boy and all that. You forgot that they had a Bortnikov level liquor bomb. This looks nothing like you've seen from Moschino. And this is crazy. If you scratched the label off and wrote Bortnikov, you could fool me. By the way, did y'all tune in today and see we did 6 fragrances for alpha males with my boy Kix? Shout out Kix Griffey. I also dropped the new setup, which is actually right here. Oh, that's why. How did that happen? How did that happen, guys? I'm looking for a clone or dupe similar to Dolce & Gabbana the One. Any recommendations? Absolutely. Dolce and Gabbana the One. It just auto muted me for no reason. That's crazy. Okay. So what I'm gonna go with for you, and honestly, Dolce & Gabbana the One is amazingly priced. Amazingly priced. So really, you shouldn't be trying to get an alternative to it unless you don't like it. And if you don't like it, you shouldn't even be getting anything like it. Trying to think of something affordable for you. Get Mercedes-Benz black leather. Mercedes-Benz black leather, or you can also pivot and get La Nuit de l'Homme by YSL. Very close. You got muted when you showed us your setup. Oh, okay. What up, beauty? What up, beauty of scent? What up, Shamil? I might get Welton London's narcotic elixir. I need a new rose fragrance. What up? Scent of the day, Aqua de Parma Colonia Intensa. Beautiful. Beautiful. Love it. Yeah, Bentley Absolute is amazing. Is the hype real around Liquid Brune? Yes, it is. Apparently, Liquid Brune Special Edition will be a step above. I might get that one. As far as scent profile, it's not a step above. The new Liquid Brune Limited Edition will just be stronger and more long-lasting. Stronger, more long-lasting. But I'll be quite honest with you, I don't think anybody ever complained about Liquid Brune's projection or longevity. So to me, it really makes no sense to make Liquid Brune limited edition because they're improving upon things nobody complained about. I like D&G the One, but just curious as to what's out there that's similar or something within the wheelhouse Dark Winter. La Nuit de l'Homme from YSL. That would be a step up from that fragrance. Do you have anything recommended that's cheap, 30-ish bucks, spicy, sweet, but soft, something that floats on your skin? Spicy, sweet, soft, floats on skin. How old are you, Mike? I need to know your age. The studio took exactly 1 week to remodel. 1 week straight. That's working in here every single night. Scent of the Day Missoni Wave. Great fragrance. SB, scent of the day was Boadicea the Victorious Blue Sapphire. That wasn't Blue Sapphire, but shout outs Boadicea. Did you tell me your age, Mike? Tell me your age, bro, before I give you the recommendation. I absolutely was wrong when I told you I didn't like JPG because it was too sweet. I think the Elixir Absolute is amazing. Fair enough. Sometimes our opinions change about fragrances. Sometimes we recall the wrong things about fragrances. Or sometimes we just wake up on the wrong side of the bed. It all can happen in fragrance. I'm 18, but I do like masculine leaning frags. Well, I mean, you're a man. Why wouldn't you? The reason I asked your age is because that gives me an assessment of how of what types of sweet you're familiar with. So, now that I know your age, there are 2 fragrances I will recommend to you. The first is my first pick, the second is my second pick. Number 1 for you in the $30 price range is going to be Lattafa Kingdom. This is Le Male Elixir DNA, tobacco, vanilla, lavender. It's sweet, it's spicy, it's got a crazy iris type of brush on it from lavender. This clones Le Male Elixir dead perfect to me. It lasts forever, super high compliment factor, fall, winter, date night, nightlife, bachelor. This fragrance right here, you will wear a lot. I have hundreds of fragrances and I've already cracked a decent little dent in this. And I have hundreds of fragrances. I rarely touch my clones. This I will bust out very regularly because it just, compliment factor is so high. This is 1-to-1 to me, Le Male Elixir from Jean Paul Gaultier. And it may have a touch bigger projection, 30 bucks. Matter of fact, you can get it for 20 to 25 bucks in a Burlington. The next fragrance is a fragrance nobody mentions, and that is Club de Nuit. Man, nobody talks about this. Club de Nuit Man. Not intense man. Man. Club de Nuit Man. This DNA is going after 1 million parfum. And this punches just like the Kingdom fragrance, but the main difference is the 1 million doesn't have the tobacco. So it's a spicy vanillic fragrance, but it's less edgy and it's closer to like a 1 million Paco Rabanne Phantom style of sweetness. So it's sweet, tiny bit of spice, mostly a sweet forward fragrance. Very nice. Very, very nice. If you're into anything Paco Rabanne, anything 1 million, go Club de Nuit Man. Not Intense Man, Club de Nuit Man. If you like Le Male Elixir, which I think is the sexier fragrance, go Lattafa Kingdom. Both last a very long time, and both have a really nice compliment factor. And both of them, more importantly, you will love to wear a lot. You will make excuses to put them on. A good, less pricey, still pricey version of Blue Sapphire is Electimus Austere. Yeah, but Joel, we're still talking like $250. I want to try Cough, the one that resembles Percival. That would be this one. Cough is amazing. You know, Cough is a fragrance, yet again, that you can just wear every day, any season, any reason. It's just so easy to wear. But normally when you say easy to wear, you think maybe it smells cheap or maybe it's simple. No. This has the complexity. It mimics kind of like an original Dior Sauvage, a little bit of Invictus Aqua, a little bit of Profondo from Aqua di Gio. It's just got all of those. Hawas Ice. Pick any of those fragrances. This can go toe-to-toe with all of that. Super fresh, crisp, aquatic, slight metallic, little bit of sweetness, high compliment factor. This is the quintessential fragrance. It smells exactly how it looks. This is the quintessential fragrance where a girl goes up to you and she says, "Oh my gosh, you smell so good. You smell fresh. You smell clean. You smell nice." That's that kind of fragrance. Man, you smell nice. You know, she's not trying to get with you. She's not, maybe she might want your number, but she's not like trying to be all over you. She's just like, man, you smell good. Like, you're the guy I need to be around. Cough is easily one of them ones when it comes to just, see, because for me, when it comes to the clone game, I think the biggest determining factor of whether or not lately I'll recommend a clone is, can I wear it a lot? Do I want to, when I'm looking at this multiple hundreds of bottles in my collection, am I, and I have clones on my shelf, I need to want to wear them, right? So Cough, wear that all the time. Kingdom, wear that all the time. Club de Nuit Man, wear it all the time. It's got to be a fragrance that not only is good, not only is accurately cloning something, but it's got to be something that each week you would love to wear it because it just makes you feel awesome. Shout outs Kix Griffey, my brother. Thoughts on Bahara fragrances? I'm looking at the Viking set. Bahara King is a highly complimented fragrance from women. Women love that, apparently. I'm not too familiar with the set. I'm just lightly familiar, not enough to be educated in to speak on it. So I'll leave that to the people that actually have put their nose on that recently. I'm a little bit dated on my update with, you know, normally I can draw from hundreds of scents that I remember, but I can't recall that one enough, you know, the line at least, the Viking line enough to recall and give you tips and advice and assessments. I'd rather wait till I go back to it again. Don't forget, everybody, right here, 3 dots, hit the like button, run it up. How much bite do each of those have? So Kingdom has a good amount of bite. It's still smooth as crap, but it's got, you know, that tobacco brush bite, nowhere near tobacco vanille or anything like that. But it's just got a nice little ashy brush on it, still super smooth. Club de Nuit Man has no bite at all. Wore the Kingdom today. It smells like royalty. Love the amber and vanilla dry down. SB keeps it real. Listen, man, Kingdom is fun to wear. Listen, even if a fragrance is good, if I don't like it, I won't tell you to go buy it. And that's why I try to speak on my library and what I collect, you know? Hey, shout outs Kix Griffey, man. Shout out Kix, man. You didn't have to do that, but I really appreciate it. Thank you for the super chat. If those of y'all who didn't know, super chats are available. I never made an announcement about it because I don't want that to be like a driving incentive for you guys to come in here and hang out. It's free value all night long, 7 days a week. But if you'd like to ever super chat to get comments read faster or just to support, feel free to throw a little cheddar at your boy. Anything I get paid on YouTube from just funds the channel, funds the giveaways, it funds upgrades on the content. As you guys can see, the studio remodeling funded by the channel. And it's all things to make your guys' content experience better. So I appreciate that. Anyone else go to Sephora and just spray the designer fragrances, or is it just me? I used to. I rarely have to do it now. Thank you, Kix. I really appreciate that, bro. Really appreciate that. I'm going to screenshot that, actually. Thank you. Shout out Kix Griffey. Go subscribe to him if you haven't. Basically, my brother from another mother. We dropped an episode today. 6 fragrances for alpha males. And last week, we dropped fragrances for superheroes. Superhero fragrances. Fragrances that your favorite superheroes would probably be wearing if you met them in real life. Have you tried Rayhan Lion? You mean Lionheart? If you mean something other than Lionheart, then no, I have not. Hey, Kix, when he donated, said hit that like button. So hit the 3 dots right here or right here, whichever part of the screen it's on. Hit the 3 dots, hit like. When me and Kix get together, we're on RNT. If you know, you know. But what I like about, see, a lot of people don't know this, but I like to share secrets about the channel with people who go into the lives because my community is small in the lives. But a lot of people don't know this, but like and Kicks don't even really know this, but is that I reserve all my most interesting conceptual content for when me and Kicks get together, because not only do I want his channel to grow, but I really respect his personality and his fragrance nose. And so I want him to always, I know Kix Griffey is great. I just want you guys to know Kix Griffey is great. And I do that by creating amazing conceptual ideas and concepts that allow you guys to get to see into his brain for how much respect he brings to the space and his creativity and his personality. So that's why I always do the fun creative stuff with him specifically as opposed to other people, because he needs that. He could use it. Let me put it this way. I want to put that light in his direction, and we just have crazy chemistry. It's like the best collab duo ever. I'm more of a freshy type of guy, honestly, but since you put me on game with the bangers like Gucci Guilty Elixir, Jean-Paul Gaultier, Le Male Elixir, I'm thinking of going on an all-sweet buying spree. Hey, Myers, do me a favor, bro. When you come up on some money, maybe like $200-300, especially since Christmas is coming, I will give you like 5 sweeter. All of my sweet fragrances are dialed in sweet. None of them are like super bombastically sweet. They're like right at the threshold of possibly being too sweet, but tastefully almost too sweet. So when you come up on some dough, let me know. I'll give you 5 sweet fragrances that aren't in your collection that you just have to at least get your nose on, because they're goats in my collection. And thank you for the kind words. SB, saw you wore Marc Jacobs for men today. Yes, I did. And I loved it. I was just wafting. It's an EDT, but it punches like a parfum. I was just wafting everywhere with that. I only hit myself with about 4 or 5 sprays. And in Arizona, it's cold right now. It's around, in the mornings, it's around 50. By the afternoon, it's about 70, 60, 70. And everywhere I went, I was catching wafts all day. I even had to go to the hospital today. And when I was in the hospital, I was still wafting off of an EDT. That fragrance right there is the truth. And that was the first fragrance I ever bought with my own money. What does the dry down smell like after a couple hours, and how's the performance? I was thinking of picking it up for winter. Cash, how old are you? Always, Kicks, always. I accidentally blended original Coach for Men EDT with Bleu de Chanel, and my friend, it's a banger. Try it right now, please. I'm not going to try it because I've already smelled that combo before, but I can already tell you, Coach for Men, super classy, vetiver base, sitting on the Bleu de Chanel forest blue freshness. There's a lot of connections between citrus and vetiver there. So I can totally remember what that smells like when I mix them together. Coach for Men by itself is amazing. Bleu de Chanel by itself is amazing. So you put those together, they're great. Okay, so if you're 28, gosh, I have short-term memory loss. Okay, so as a 28-year-old man, I think you would absolutely love this. What does it smell like? I'm going to read this to you, but because what I feel it smells like and what websites like Fragrantica will tell you it smells like doesn't really resonate with me, but I feel like I should read it anyway, and then I'll kind of roll off of that. I feel like this is one of those fragrances that truthfully is hard to read notes and guess the smell. So like, just so you know, it has a 4.1 out of 5 on Fragrantica. So it is highly ranked, but the fragrance has been here since 2002. So it stood the test of time as a fragrance. People say, yes, this is great. It's not creeping into super duper mass appeal territory, but this was the single fragrance that took Marc Jacobs into a serious level with perfumery. It's classified as a woody floral musk fragrance. So you're like, okay, woods, florals, and musk. Well, it's hard to picture that because normally you don't see florals with wood. You see florals with musk, but thinking about what florals and musk on woods smells like doesn't quite make sense. So then you scroll down and then the notes are amazing. But I personally, I feel like my nose is one of the best in the game. I still can't picture what this smells like, but I'm going to read it to you anyway. We have cypress, cardamom, ginger, bergamot, cumin at the top. Middle notes, fig leaf, water notes, cyclamen, rose, and then we have cedar, tonka bean, oak moss, and patchouli. Now, I'm going to be honest, looking at this screen, I get a good amount of this, about a 15-20% of this. There is a strong presence of cumin, but it's not stank at all. It just feels like body in the fragrance. It doesn't have like the scent profile of cumin. I do get this. So it's got this very like pretty light, sweet. So basically this is how I describe this. It's got this slightly sweet, woody earthiness. It mostly smells like this cypress, cardamom, cumin combo, but then all of this sits on the top and makes it super bright despite it being a super wintry fragrance. So I guess like fragrances that would kind of indicate a little bit of what this smells like would be fragrances like yeah, so okay. So for me, like a fragrance that it reminds me of is like Cedrat Boisé, but it's better than Cedrat Boisé to me. It also reminds me of a little bit of this fragrance, YSL L'Homme, a little bit of that. Also reminds me of a little bit of Salvatore Ferragamo's original Pour Homme, you know, so a light fig, fresh, aquatic-y style, but still fougere-ish. It reminds me a little bit of, what was the name of that fragrance? Even this, right here, Fico di Amalfi. It's perfectly sweet. It feels a lot like YSL L'Homme, but a beefier, woody base, a little bit spicier. And then in the background, you just get these tiny notes of like green fig leaf, tiny bit of cypress, tiny bit of like sweetness, but it's all just sitting behind this big, beefy, like pillowy, sweet woods. It's like wearing a mink jacket. Actually, it's like, do I have it here? It wears heavy, like it wears like a thick sweater. So it's just got this cozy sweetness. It's just different, man. Some people might think it smells old, but it truly is one of those fragrances that if it's freezing cold and you put it on, it's absolutely magical. If you put it on when there's just like no breeze at all, it smells terrible. In a breeze, it just comes alive in a way where it's like, it's cozy, it's sexy, it's classy, it's mature. It's just different. But I would highly recommend you put your nose on it before you buy it. Because Now, with all that being said, I wore it today, and I was like, man, I'm so glad I didn't throw this away because I was loving it, dude. I was just loving it, and it reminded me of I why I was able to pull off wearing this in Arizona, where it averages north of 100 degrees Fahrenheit. I was wearing this like an idiot. I didn't know seasons. I didn't know notes. I just thought this smelled good, and I wore it anytime I went to a party, after the game, on dates, at lounges, and I would get girl magnet, bro. Like, girls were just always tell me I smell good, always. And so it's good scent memories, but I was wearing it today and it made me feel good, dude. Like, it's important that when you put a fragrance on, it lifts you up in whatever way, whether it lifts you up in confidence, lifts you up your energy, your mood, makes you hopeful, it's intriguing to you, so it makes your brain get lifted up. I feel like when you wear a fragrance, no matter how simple or complex it is, it has to lift you. And this fragrance, when I wore it today, it really lifted me. Like, I smelt like the man. And I feel like it's one of the more unique profiles in the space. Yeah, it's definitely very interesting notes. But if you've tried something like a Cedrat Boise or a YSL L'Homme or a Lanouille de L'Homme, something in that realm, I feel like those two plus maybe some Acqua di Parma Fico di Amalfi and Salvatore Ferragamo Pour Homme, it's some kind of baby between all of that, but it sits on skin like a L'Homme and like a Cedrat Boise. Okay, let me catch up in the chat. What's good? What's good, Gems? Good to see you, brother. Hey, man, I was telling Kicks, bro. I was jelly. I was jelly about Scent Explorer. I even texted Michael Paul. I was like, man, listen, I hope you enjoy yourself because it's hard for me to watch everybody out there having fun. I called Kicks. I was like, bro, this is tough, man. I'm thinking about just hopping on a plane. But, I was able to live through your guys's vlogs and stuff, and I even saved the VODs I didn't see, so I got to go back through Kevin. I got to go back through Finesse. I got to go back through Gems. Who else was out there? I got to go back through Plug. I got to go back out through a lot of the bigger the main creators that were there. I got to talk to Michael about I'll talk to Michael this week and see how it was. But I'm glad Michael showed you guys the new fragrance he's working on, because I really want to see what everybody's going to think about this. And in light of, it's so interesting how he chooses to drop, because it doesn't seem sequential in my mind, but it's like Desert Rain into Midnight Raspberry. So like Desert Rain was very polarizing. Either people thought it was really, really nice, versatile, or people just didn't think, they weren't head scratched enough to it. Like, it's a good fragrance, but it's not that special. Then Midnight Raspberry dropped, and then a certain group of people said that is, best fragrance of 2025. And then other people were like, it's just a good, solid raspberry fragrance. But to pivot to the fragrance he's working on right now, I'm really interested to see what the public opinion is. Now, granted, it is still being worked on heavily. I know Michael, he's going to still, to the very last drop on the finish line, going to continue refining the mods. But I have put my nose on it quite a bit, and I'm really excited to see this particular style of fragrance in the marketplace. It's going to be very interesting. All right, let me catch up. Are there any 10 out of 10 homage fragrances for someone under 25? Yes, but not universally sayable, meaning homage is very much a house that speaks to individuals individually, right? So don't ask people what homage you should buy. please do not, because they're going to tell you what spoke to them. And Amouage is not a house to be playing with other people's interests in it. For the love of our sweet Lord and Savior, please go to Neiman's, Saks, Scent Room, wherever, and smell your Amouages. And don't spray it, smell it, sit with it, give it a minute. Like, spray it, walk around a little bit, and experience it, and then move through them all, and then write down maybe the top 3 that you love, unquestionably. Leave, ask them for samples, leave with those samples, then spend a day with it, then come back and make your purchase choice. Because if you put 10 people, if you put 10 people in a room with Amouage, all 10 of them will not like, because that's subjective. A lot of people do cross-like similar fragrances, but if you put 10 people in a room with Amouage, all of them will walk out with a different fragrance, more than most houses. So I don't want to tell you what gravitates to me until I do a memoir or something. I would just say tread with caution with Amouage. Their scents are head scratchers, intriguing, can be sexy, can be complex, very well developed, very thoughtful. And because of that, they all have tons of individual personality, and fragrances that have a lot of personality tend to gravitate to a specific type of person. So spend time with them. Not blind buy worthy, Cash. What is the name of the scent you wore today? Today, I actually did a layer of Marc Jacobs for Men Original from 2002. This was the first fragrance I ever purchased in my fragrance journey over 20 years ago. Was it 20 years? We're in 2025. It came out in 2002. Almost 25 years ago. Like over 20. Because I bought it right when it came out. I wore this, but because I'm in Arizona, it was cold this morning. You know, it was like 50 degrees, so I could have just rocked out with this. But this is a heavy scent for an EDT. I mean, it hits like a parfum. So I just put 1 or 2 sprays of Terre d'Hermes EDT just to give it some earthy lift. Just a little bit of earthy lift on the fragrance to lift it up a little bit and get it a little less pillowy and powdery. And really, it didn't change the fragrance. It just lifted the top notes a little harder and made it feel a little less heavy. I didn't put in my scent of the day that I had. I didn't put in my scent of the day that I had a combo, because I try to give you guys information about the fragrances themselves individually, because quite honestly, I didn't want to put Terre d'Hermes with it to imply, you know, you have to have Terre d'Hermes with it for it to be a great fragrance. It's amazing by itself, and I would rock it by itself. So today I didn't really put that I comboed with it so that you guys could really do your research on that fragrance, which is why I wrote up a little piece about kind of what that fragrance meant to Marc Jacobs when they came out with it, because it was a pivotal game-changing fragrance for that company. What is the name? I just saw your video on Aqua Allegoria Neroli Vetiver. Is it worth getting as an 18-year-old? Gamer, listen to me right now. And anyone, this is an ageless fragrance, but for anybody under 25 who've seen me discuss this fragrance at all, go buy it. Simply make sure you get the Forte. Forte is critical because this fragrance will not say EDP. The Forte is what signifies the EDP from this fragrance line. So if you just get Aqua Allegoria Neroli Vetiver, it is an EDT. Make sure you get the Forte. You need the EDP with this particular line. And trust me, when you get the EDP, you will be thrilled to the gills because it has some of the best performance for a neroli and vetiver based fragrance out there. If you've ever been shy when it comes to vetiver, this is one of the most wearable vetivers. If you ever were annoyed by neroli, some people think baby powder, some people think too clean, too simple, whatever, get this fragrance. This fragrance punches, it radiates off skin. The performance is great. It's a self experience as much as it is a sillage fragrance. It really is kind of a Pepe Le Pew type of sillage. Everywhere you go, you will be leaking at least 3 to 5 feet pretty much consistently. I would say I really kind of lost my sillage around the 4-hour mark, but the fragrance stayed well over 8. This is a fragrance that, depending where you live, you will go to sleep and it will be on you, which is so surprising for a vetiver neroli-based fragrance. I believe the composition, don't quote me on it because I am a savant, but I'm a half-dead battery savant. You know, sometimes I just drop the ball, but I'm pretty sure the composition of this obviously is neroli and vetiver, but I believe it's fig leaf and a bit of citrus. But man, mostly it is a purely kind of somewhat creamy, but extremely airy, soft powdery, neroli and vetiver fragrance. But it's so bright. The fig leaf just puts like this kind of slight creamy, ashy, radiant, light sweetness. And it's so fresh. Like if you like neroli Portofino, any of those, if you like anything from, I'm going to say something super bold. And I just recently picked up 4 Acqua di Parma fragrances. This fragrance consolidates the entire Acqua di Parma line. I'm going to say that again. This fragrance consolidates the entirety of the Acqua di Parma line for me. The only stuff from Acqua di Parma that kind of goes out of this category and this fragrance doesn't consolidate is when you start to get into the black bottle stuff, the Intensas, the Zeffiranos, the Oud and Spice, all that stuff. But in terms of all of the fresh, fun fragrances, it has all of that in it, that bright, fun nicheness, but the class of Guerlain. So as a man, you could wear this and be totally happy and vibrant because you don't sacrifice any class. It has the backbone that Acqua di Parma never had. And similar with Byredo. You know, I feel like this consolidates much of Byredo. And yeah, I was going to start saying some reckless stuff that honestly would have been a lie. But yeah, man, as a 25 and down, guys, if you get this fragrance, you will wear it every day. I'm just telling you right now. If you're under 25, it will be the type of fragrance where the first time you smell it, you immediately will smell it in the air in the smoothest way possible. And as you walk around, the level of sillage that you will hit yourself with is so uplifting, fun, and expensive, yet classy. And I don't mean classy like, oh, he's nice. I mean classy like, where the heck did he get what he was wearing? Where did he get that? Because I want a full bottle. 125 ml, you can get it for between $60 and $100. The reason the disparity is so huge because sometimes discounters will knock this down to 60. I paid 60 for this. Full sealed bottle. Where the heck's the label? But generally it sits around 80 to 100. It is worth 200 to me. This will easily be a bottle that I replace indefinitely forever when it comes to dumb reach, everyday niche wear. This can go toe-to-toe with many things. And with me, fun, everyday casual, upscale, niche scents always either lack backbone or oppositely, they have a ton of richness and stuff, but just aren't fun. They're too put together, too refined, too serious. They don't match the kind of white T&J's feel, but can also go into a button-up. This could easily do that. Okay. I know I probably missed a lot of questions, but that was just an important rant because I will be doing a memoir on that fragrance. It's one of the best things I've smelled, and I've smelled thousands of fragrances in a very short period of time. I like Cedrat Boisé, so I'm just going to pull the trigger on it. You never recommend me a bad fragrance before, so I think it's... Hey, listen, Cash. I'm just going to tell you that fragrance was made in 2002. So it's not just about I trust SB. It doesn't matter how much you trust me. It's still a fragrance from 2002, and it is a bold winter wear. So just know that I told you to sample it before you buy it. But I do have good taste. So tread with caution. There's some things that I'll say it doesn't matter, just go buy it. But that truly is a fragrance where I know it'll only speak to certain people, but I absolutely love it, and I've been wearing it for 20 years. Are the regular Cedrat Boisé and the Cedrat Intense smoky? I'm not a fan of that smoky dry down of Aventus. I feel like that's an attribute of Cedrat Boisé that not everybody experiences. Um, and so I don't want to answer that as if that's just the black and white truth of the fragrance. I've heard people describe Cedrat Boisé in in so many ways. It's like opening a crayon box and seeing a 100-pack of different crayons. Cedrat Boisé is polarizing. Many people hate it. Many people think it's a goat fragrance. And where you sit in that interest gap should be experienced by trying the fragrance. What I can say is that the Intense is... See, I don't even want to say what I want to say about it. A lot of people prefer the Intense, but not always for reasons that are just black and white. So it's one of those things where it's like, do you even like this fragrance? If you do, try both, because you'll probably like both. Now, if it was a fragrance like Red Tobacco versus Red Tobacco Intense, those are much different in terms of their tone and feel, to the point where most people would confidently tell you to go into Red Tobacco Intense and just skip Red Tobacco. But then there's guys like me who would say Red Tobacco is one of the worst fragrances ever made. Therefore, go into a different type of red, like a Roja Danger or an Ambar Dominicana or a Prada Luna Rosa Le Parfum, different stuff like that. But that's why you have to kind of, that's why I think fundamentally, if you like fragrances, you don't have to be an expert, but something that would really help direct your nose that is constantly changing early on is going into a Sephora or an Ulta Beauty and just surveying everything and just taking notes. I like this. I like that. I like this for date maybe. I like this for casual maybe. And just start to compile a list of stuff that you gravitate towards, and maybe just do a little bit of digging to see what the notes are, what's in it, what the feedback has been, see if how you feel about it is how other people feel about it, and really just start to build your palette. Because the more you understand how you connect to fragrances, the more you can start to have your own preference. And that's the most important thing, I believe, in FragCom, is you have to have preference. You want to graduate from, oh my gosh, people say Diaghilev is the GOAT, so I'm going to buy it, and I'm a niche lover, and I need to acquire it. You go from dumb stuff like that to like, what speaks to me? And in FragCom today, I feel like it's so loud. It's going to be really hard for a lot of you guys. And I would exclusive it to just young people, but it's a human problem. We are over consuming. We are bombarded with information. And our biggest value and asset is time. And so listening to what somebody else thinks saves time. But it also strips you of your preference. So you buy a lot of fragrances, your nose is constantly changing, and once the thrill is over, all you're left is with yourself and your fragrances. And a lot of times what that looks like is completely letting go of about 80% of what you have to pursue a more serious, intimate, self-governing approach to building your collection, which is like, okay, yeah, this clones this very well, or yeah, people say this is the ultimate date night fragrance, or yeah, everybody says this is great, or yeah, somebody said they got 100 compliments from this, or you know, this is most people's top 5 holy grail fougères, so I'm gonna buy that. Instead of all of that, you will just honestly approach as many fragrances as you can and say, do I have a connection to this? And what kind of connection is it? Is it a cheap thrill? Is it something that stays on my mind? Is it therapeutic? Is it uplifting? Is it sexy? Is it a fragrance that other people really enjoy on me and I like making other? You start to really just have more of a personal relationship with your fragrance journey. And that is the most important thing in fragrance to me, is having preference that's based off of you and not the community. All right. I haven't really jumped into Chris Collins yet. I've done a lot of research, but I haven't got my hands on a Chris Collins discovery set, but I've got it loaded up in the cart. I just have been waiting a long time to pull the trigger on it because, you know, and we can do this all night long, but you know, it's, I mean, guys, we're absolutely just bombarded with stuff. And it really just never gets old here. You know, the amount of stuff that we have surveyed on this channel to be able to have over 1,000 reviews in just a little over a year is really the product of just an insane amount of samplage. And so much so that I've acquired probably over 150 to 200 bottles that I haven't even gotten a chance to review on this channel because the amount of samples that we're going through is so ridiculous. So a lot of you guys are going to start to see reviews where I pull out bottles and you're going to be like, where the heck did all this come from? Why did he do samples before his own bottles? Well, because I'm so much in my journey that when I pick up a bottle and I like something, I'm still showcasing the journey. That's the point of my channel, is showcasing the journey. My collection's always going to be here. Best cologne to wear for a job interview for me, and again, for everybody goes for something different in a job interview. For me, I want to smell expensive, clean, and professional. That's all I need. I don't need to have some signature. I don't need sweetness. I want people to know I mean business when I'm there. I'm professional, I'm hardworking, and I want my fragrance to evoke cleanliness, professionalism, and extreme amount of confidence. So for me, I keep it simple. You know, I'm not going to a job interview in Coral Mandel. I'm not going to a job interview with a ton of sweetness, if any. For me, there's 2 fragrances in my journey that have been go-to job fragrances. Now, I work independently, and I have for a very long time, and I also work in finance. It doesn't matter. For me, and again, I could give you guys a longer list, but I'm just going to keep it so real to my journey. 2 fragrances that will always be worn in that initial impression job interview scenario is if I'm going for a suit and tie or a button-up or more semi-formal and above type of job scenario, I just feel Tom Ford Grey Vetiver can't be stopped. I just feel it can't be stopped. It's so to the point and simple. It smells like you just got out of a gray Jaguar. It's professional. You know, think of old vintage James Bond in a gray suit, a gray tux. It's just so professional. It's one of those scents that immediately out of nowhere, it lifts you up, lifts your senses, and you go, oh, who is that guy? You know, oh, let me take him seriously. Even for niche heads who might be over this or never have really been into vetivers, you immediately, there's certain Tom Ford fragrances you smell and it immediately puts expensiveness in the air. You just start to see dollar signs. You run into a guy that's wearing Tom Ford Grey Vetiver, you know he makes money or is on his way to money. And I just feel like it's mass appealing as well. It's not too niche. It's not too complex. It's quite simple, but high quality. You know, as you get older, you know, when you're younger, you're drinking V8 Splash and soda and Monster and Red Bull and, you know, supercalifragilistic shakes from Starbucks, and it's just sugar and it's fat. And then you get older and your health starts to become an issue, and you start to learn about health. And now instead of drinking, you know, Welch's apple juice, you're squeezing your own apples because, and then your senses start to open up and you're like, man, just the taste of a fresh orange. I haven't had that in forever. And you start going organic and realizing the beauty and simplicity. That's what a fragrance like Tom Ford is. If I'm semi-formal or higher, I'm wearing Grey Vetiver EDP every single time. And if I'm going for more of a casual interview where I want to be seen as professional, but I'm not trying to outclass the environment that I'm in, I'm going to go more of a nature professional, and I'm going Lalique Lin Sumi. It's basically, think what Bleu de Chanel EDT was to the classy mass appeal men's market. This takes that approach, but shifts the target audience. The target audience for a fragrance like this is more the man that doesn't want to smell like a classy department store manager, which is what I feel Bleu de Chanel kind of became. This is a little bit more outdoorsy, but still super mass appealing. Green, airy, slightly green, dewy, airy outdoors. There's a professionalness to this, but there's still a bit of wild man outdoor kind of, you know, it's not too outdoors though. There's some notes in there that kind of just dial it back into being something you could smell on anybody walking through the mall. That's just, that, you know, it's like everybody's wearing Bleu de Chanel, put this on. Now this doesn't imitate Bleu de Chanel in scent profile at all, but vibe wise, in terms of a classy, clean, fresh man, this checks the same boxes, but it's quite a bit more unique to me. So anything semi-formal and down for an interview, I would rock Lin Sumi. And this is also one of the most effortlessly fun fragrances for men to wear every day, just casually. It's just kind of something that will put you at peace, make you confident. You love wafting this in the air. It's just not a scent you typically find. .22 battery. We're gonna have to end the show early, guys. What's the deal? Thoughts on blending ombre leather and side effect? Unnecessary, completely. Issey Miyake, a lot of Issey Miyake fragrances would be great for a job interview. Matter of fact, I haven't smelled this one in a while. Le Bleu d'Essai Eau Fraîche. A lot of fragrances will work for a job interview, but you're asking SB, so I have to tell you what I've always worn in an interview scenario, and it has always been Lin Sumi and Tom Ford Grey Vetiver. I'm never not confident wearing those fragrances in any professional setting. Now, do I have more, you know, black tux, black tie affair, formal type stuff? Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, we got Rojas, we have Chanel Privés, You know, I got a lot of my Ubagant Fougere Royale. Could I wear that? Absolutely. But I never have. I've always felt that Lin Sumi and Grey Vetiver are the most versatile in that category. The most people connect to them. Hold on. This is actually... What the heck? What does this remind me of? Profondo? The heck? I'm so sorry, guys. Hold on. Sometimes you smell a fragrance you haven't smelled in a while and it reminds you of something. Issey Miyake Eau Fraîche. Yeah, Le Bleu de Issey Eau Fraîche. Aromatic, fresh, spicy, woody, 4.16. Rosemary, mint, bergamot, musk, patchouli. What do they say it smells like? Loam. No. No. Sometimes Fragrantica just gets it way wrong. I predict SB will say Grey Vetiver for the question about best job interview scent. Of course he did. Faison has clearly been around a minute. Yes. What up, Stan? I know this is wild, but I see some similarities with Reserve Privé and Ambar Dominicano. Givenchy? Okay. Okay. Well, I'm glad you found that connection. So you're telling me Allegoria Forte is better than Ball de Freak? Oh my gosh. 100 times. Don't even speak Ball de Freak's name in my presence. Ball de Freak smells like expensive 7-Up. Expensive Sprite. Which is fine. I like that. Cool. But the performance is so bad, you will regret ever making the purchase because it is a fleeting memory. Now, you can move up into Boadicea the Victorious Hanuman, which smells like a significant upgrade from that in terms of a little more projection, a little more performance, a little more complexity, but it is also a fleeting memory. So unless you start getting into layering, ignore those completely. Now, I tend to believe that a fragrance like Vibrant Vetiver Delight, which is a clone of Ball de Freak, gives you 10, 12 hours of nuclear performance, but it is not a nuclear projector. It is a nuclear performing fragrance. Projection is quite small. Not small, but not large. 3 feet. 3-4 feet. Nice sillage. I'll wear this over Ball de Freak all day long. And it's not until you get to BTV, Boadicea the Victorious' Hanuman, that you really can appreciate that fragrance for long enough to like it. But even then, I always halt people from buying Hanuman because as amazing as it smells, you really have to pack it on. You wear this fragrance, and this is a cheapy banger. The only difference between this and Ball de Freak is Ball de Freak has an airy, crisp grass kind of overcoat over it, whereas this leans a little bit into green Jolly Rancher, but it still has that expensive Sprite feel. So what I'll do to this to get it to smell like Ball de Freak is, and one of the best atomizers in the game. Can we show this? Hold on. Get my coffee out of the way. Like, yo, that is Call of Duty atomizer right there. I had to get my coffee out of the way. Amazing fragrance. I don't... but what I'll do to... Wow, that smells good. What I'll do to get Vibrant Vetiver Delight to smell like Ball to Freak is I will mix Encre Noir Sport with it. And that seems to get me very, very close. But again, I have Hanuman. So I'm really just playing with toys when I do that. But Aqua Allegoria Forte Nerolia Vetiver, you know, uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, that fragrance right there shouldn't even be compared to Ball to Freak. It smacks Ball to Freak around. Should I get Trace Oros as an 18-year-old? Absolutely. You buy Trace Oros, you really don't need another date night fragrance as an 18-year-old. And yeah, you only get 50 ml, but you could spray Trace Oros once in the front, once in the back, and just go the whole day. Any insight on the EDP Intense thought? Which one? Do you know of any good Dark Lord by Killian alternatives? Arabiat Prestige has one, so just Google Arabiat Prestige clone of Dark Lord. What occasions do you normally wear straight to heaven? Only date night. Only date night. Some people can make a case for late evening lounge or cigar or casino or something like that. Wear it with your girl at night. Point blank period. That is it. Straight to Heaven is the fragrance that is also Netflix and chill approved if you're a grown man, but for expensive folk or someone you're really, really trying to impress. You wear that out with your girl, oh my gosh. It's the fragrance where when another girl walks by, she's mad that she's not the one in your arms. Just one of the coolest, yeah, Straight to Heaven, get the Extreme or the Intense. I forget if it's called Extreme or Intense, but get that version so you can milk some performance out of it, and you will have just one of the most signature romantic scents ever. Leather, patchouli, chocolate, even though it won't tell you. But the patchouli and rum is what's creating this beautiful chocolate accord. But it's essentially rum, raisins, other dried fruits, leather, patchouli, and probably vanillin. It's just so dang good. Cacao. My son, 19 years old, has Prada Luna Rosa Ocean Le Parfum on his Christmas list. Thoughts? He has good taste. Creed Royal Oud or Tom Ford Oud Wood? Oh my gosh. Oh man. See, I hate when people ask me stuff like that because it just slows the chat down. I don't care. I'm going for it. I gotta do it. I gotta do it, guys. Sorry. Blame whoever the heck asked me in chat. Don't want to waste this. This is precious juice right here. No pause. So we've got Mafia Boss versus Lawyer. I think most niche heads will probably try to make a strong case that Creed's Royal Oud is not only better, but is easily one of the best fragrances ever made from the House of Creed. It's just so nice. I mean, gosh. Ugh. And in a lot of ways, it does what oud wood does with so much more personality. Oud wood kind of is the safe way out. But they both make you feel a type of way about masculinity that it evokes in you. I think a better battle, because these two really shouldn't battle each other because of the way that they're structured. A better battle would be either Tom Ford Tobacco Oud or Tom Ford's Oud Wood Intense versus Royal Oud. Then you have a much harder battle. I like them both. I'm not picking. I don't care. Shoot me. Which works better in... Now, here's one thing I will absolutely tell you guys. If you've ever wanted to get oud wood, don't. If you want oud wood, I highly encourage you to try Tobacco Oud and Oud Wood Intense, because you get a much more bombastic scent experience in the air that is something way more signature than just oud wood. Oud wood is a typical Tom Ford fragrance where the first time you smell it, you'll instantly get this Tom Ford elevation of class. Like you feel like you stepped up the ladder a couple notches. But after you become super duper familiar with it, it'll be hard for you to grab it off your shelf as you start to accumulate fragrances. Not because it's hard to wear, but because it's too easy to wear. So I highly encourage you, try 3 fragrances before you consider buying original Tom Ford Oud Wood. Pick up 1 Million Royal Oud from Paco Rabanne, 1 Million Royal Oud, 1 Million Oud. It's the one with the green jewel. Try that. Try Tom Ford Tobacco Oud, and try Tom Ford Oud Wood Intense. And then make your decision. Creed Royal Oud you should just always buy. Always. That might be the best description of how you should treat this fragrance team. Thank you, Sam. Good call on your Grey Vetiver prediction. You've been following the channel for a while. What he said, for us, it was easy to know he's going to pick that one. SB. Hey, listen, a lot of times I'll still answer questions like that because, yeah, you guys have heard me pick fragrances, but picking fragrances is just the smallest part of the equation. What you guys get to hear less is the mind behind why I make the decisions I make. And so that's why I still go on rants, even though you guys know what the short-term answer would be. SB should make a quiz. Yeah. I mean, as I start to teach you guys about me, the giveaways will often be quizzes on me in the future. Yeah, I can't find any samples. My guess is because it's a new release. Even the main site doesn't have a sample. Okay. I'm scrolling, guys. I'm catching up. Thinking about Grey Vetiver, but a little unsure. I have Terre de Hermes Parfum, which I love. Is it similar? If you have Tom Ford Grey Vetiver Parfum, Johnny Lee, don't get Grey Vetiver. Just don't. Just wear your Grey Vetiver Parfum. That is more than okay. Tom Ford Grey Vetiver doesn't have the bitter orange, and for that reason, it's even more cleaner and more professional. Terre de Hermes, because of that bitter orange, is more aggressively fruity in a unique way, but, you know, Tom Ford dials that in. Like, there's grapefruit, but, man, it's not sweet. It's not that sweet at all. Maybe 2 out of 10 sweet. It's more about the professionalism. Like Tom Ford Grey Vetiver to me wears a lot similar to a Egoist or a Platinum Egoist type of fragrance with a sparkling wine finish on the top than how Terre de Hermes feels. But if you have Terre de Hermes, that's totally fine. Is Tom Ford Noir Extreme office appropriate? No. Now, Tom Ford Noir EDP is office appropriate if you only spray yourself one time. Straight to Heaven or Trace Oros? Both. Don't ever put me in that predicament again. What are some good fresh iris fragrances that are versatile, excluding Prada? Valentino Uomo Intense Original. Best Hasselhoff clone? To me, there is no Hasselhoff clone, but the closest thing you're going to get to a Hasselhoff feeling clone is Offnon Supremacy Collector's Edition because of the emphasis on oak moss. Also, in the topic of Grey Vetiver, I watched your memoirs episode on it, and I almost pulled the trigger until you said the performance was weak. I think you said 3 to 4 hours. Yikes. Hey, I'm going to keep it real with you guys. You know, I'm in a place in my journey where scent trumps performance, or let's put it this way, a scent can... No, scent always trumps performance. If I didn't buy the scent because of the performance, the scent wasn't good enough. How about that? If I didn't buy a good scent because of performance, then the scent wasn't good enough. When I freaking buy YSL L'Homme, the scent was better than the performance. How do you think Javoy Psychedelic compares to Coromandel? Well, you said well, I'm going to assume you meant Coromandel. Psychedelic is of similar bravado as Coromandel, but they are nothing alike. Scent-wise, they're nothing alike, but bravado, the same type of man that would wear Coromandel, he would own Psychedelic as well. Givenchy Boise Iris is beautiful. It is. If you ever want classy, sexy, and sexy classy in designer realm, Givenchy, you almost can never pick a bad fragrance from Givenchy. Versace Pour Homme Parfum. Why haven't they released this yet? Because it's Versace Pour Homme. No one's asking about it. SB about to start preaching. I'm getting tired. We're at 83 minutes. Yes, I meant Coromandel. Yeah, if you ever bought Coromandel, you should have Psychedelic and vice versa. Those, to me, are like two holy grail fragrances. If I had a top 50 best fragrances ever made, both of those fragrances go in that list. But for me and my journey, instead of saying Psychedelic, I would say Ombre Sultan, because Ombre Sultan to me smells exactly like Psychedelic, just a little less soily and earthy. But in my journey, if I didn't get Ombre Sultan from Italy, straight from Italy, then I would have got Psychedelic. But I got my hands on Ombre Sultan first, not even knowing that it smelled so close. And then I smelled it and I was like, gosh, this fragrance is too good. I don't need Psychedelic, even though I've always wanted that fragrance. It's just so unique in the marketplace for cakey patchouli fragrances. But Ombre Sultan has put me in a position to where I will never own Psychedelic. The most I will ever own of Psychedelic is my decant of it. And I have 2, thankfully. So if I ever want to get in Psychedelic, I have about 6 ml to work with. I don't need any more than that because I love Ombre Sultan so much. And it, most importantly, it smells just like Psychedelic, but more mass appealing. Psychedelic isn't for everybody. You know, for a lot of men, they wear Psychedelic and they're like, man, I like the smell, but it is just too dark, too earthy. Not me, though. Not me, though. Oh, man. Is there any other questions that you guys have? Because I'm getting tired. What's your top 10 creed? I don't even have a top 10 Creed. Bois de Portugal and Royal Oud are the best fragrances ever made from Creed. Then right behind that, you have Absolute Aventus, Millesime Imperial. For me, I've smelled the entire line. And for me, and when I say Aventus Absolute, Aventus and Aventus Cologne are wrapped. Those three are one fragrance to me. Even though they don't smell, they have different profiles and different styles. If I say Aventus, I mean all Aventuses. But yeah, for me, Bois de Portugal, Royal Oud are the best fragrances Creed's ever made. Right behind that, you have Aventus, then Millesime Imperial. And then if I never owned any other Creeds at that point, I would not be sad. Now, the old batch of original vetiver from Creed, I'm a big fan of, but this new freaking McDonald's crap, absolute. If I wasn't gotta catch 'em all with vetiver, I wouldn't even have it. But if I could get some old batch original vetiver, I would throw that at the very bottom tier of that list. But I think those 4 fragrances to me is all I need. You can keep everything else from Creed. Not that it's not good, but I wouldn't even put them in a top list. Does Terre de Hermes EDT outperform Parfum in high heat? No. No, it doesn't. EDT doesn't even perform, to be honest. I mean, if I load this on, I could get 4 hours. I just like the EDT the most. It's the most nostalgic. It's the brightest. It's the liveliest. It's the most blendable with it's the most blendable with other fragrances. It's just fun. I'll always keep Hermes EDT in my bag. Always. But no, in Arizona, I have to spray like 12 sprays and I'll still only get like 4 hours of fun with it. Does Ghost Spectre have a Play-Doh smell? Not to me, but a lot of people think so. Coach Platinum or Coach Green? Neither. Original Coach for men. Tuscan leather or ombre leather? Which smells more expensive to non-frag people? Both smell expensive. Don't get it twisted. But I don't want either one of those two. Get Eau de Ombre leather, the newest release. If you get ombre leather, just get the Parfum. But to me, Eau de Ombre leather beats out all the previous versions of ombre leather. But both smell really expensive. Really, the only difference is ombre leather is a little more beautiful smelling. Tuscan leather is more unapologetically leather, and for that reason, if you're not a really rich guy that like all your accessories, all your clothes, all your cars, all your property is rich looking, you shouldn't own that fragrance. I always tell people don't buy Tuscan leather unless you actually have Italian leather of some form on you. You know, have you ever purchased Italian leather? If not, don't buy Tuscan leather. You won't look the part. You know, ombre leather is a fragrance where, you know, a 20-year-old kid could hypothetically pull it off. It would be a reach, but he could. What are your thoughts on Le Labo? Hate it. Le Labo is an easy house to clone, so just go with the clones. Is the comparison of Ed Hardy, Love and Luck, and Millesime Imperial accurate or close? Not as much as Sean John's Unforgettable or Unforgivable. This smells more like Millesime Imperial. It goes like this. In the order of most accurate, you have Millesime Imperial, then you have Club de Nuit Milestone, then you have Sean John Unforgivable, then you have Ed Hardy Love and Luck. Yeah. And I have, Love and Luck is a great fragrance though. You will love it if you have it. I gave Love and Luck to a friend of mine this year actually. I gave him a full bottle of it. And he ran through the bottle in like 3 months. He's a big guy. But he was like 20 spray shotgunning that fragrance every day. And he was like, I hit him up like 2-3 months later and I'm like, yo, how's that fragrance treating you? He's like, yeah, we don't have any more. And I'm like, what? I gave you a freaking 100 mil. What'd you do? Drink it? Is Aventus batch hunting delusional? Yes. Any batch hunting is delusional, truly. Also, side note, many of y'all remember the first time you smelled Aventus. For me, my mind was blown and I've loved it ever since. I actually smelled Club de Nuit Intense Man before I ever smelled Aventus. And I smelled, yeah, we'll leave it at that. Original Santal I don't like. And most clones of it match it perfectly, so you don't even need it. I have a couple original Santal clones, one from Sensual Obsessions, one from Dua, I believe, and they do it just perfectly fine. Original Santal is just not my tea. There's a note in it that just comes off too much like cleaner to me, cleaning product. There are some fragrances that smell like cleaning product that I actually do like, but, you know, it's like fruit. Not all fruits are good, to me. You know, everybody's got their own fruit that they like. Almost forgot. In your opinion, are some content creators disingenuous about Creed's performance? I'm going to be honest, Johnny. That question is not exclusive to Creed. Many content creators are disingenuous about many things they share about fragrances. We all need to slow down and stop being worried about having all of the boxes checked in our content videos. And we need to spend more time wearing the fragrance before we talk about the fragrance. Most of you guys know this, but before I do my reviews on decants, I've already worn the fragrance 1 to 3 times, at least a full day wearing. So my initial impression isn't the truest initial impression, and I've told you guys that. But it's because before I start speaking about performance and stuff, I want to have truly tested it out on my skin, because everybody's skin is different. Everybody's climate is different. So I take my actual experience with my live first impression experience, and I average out the information that I think would be most helpful for you guys. But I don't think most people do that. Is Oud Satin Mood wearable casually? No. Way too heavy to be a casual fragrance. That fragrance feels very heavy, very special, and very romantic. I've smelled Club de Nuit Intense Man before Aventus. Aventus Cologne is great though. Aventus Cologne is super slept on. Can you wear Amouage Interlude Man outside during winter? You can try. Club de Nuit isn't as bad as everyone says. For me, the opening isn't too screechy or harsh. A lot of people felt that way. Despite what everybody says about any Club de Nuit fragrance, millions of people at this point have purchased it. So it doesn't matter what they said, they still bought it. Is Naxos more honey or tobacco after 4 hours? Couldn't really tell you. In my experience, they both kind of peanut butter and jellied together when I wore Naxos. I'm not a big fan of Naxos. To me, if you want tobacco and honey, you either go Guerlain Privé line, Wajon, Trace Oros, or Le Male Elixir. Or Ombre Noir from Lalique. Thank you, SB, for the time and care you give to the community. Keep it rolling. Stay blessed. Hey, listen, same to you guys. And on that note, I am going to roll out. Make sure, if you're new to the channel, or if you've been here a while, please use the playlist tab and the community tab more. The playlist section, I've organized now over 15 original concept styles for my fragrance content so you guys can binge watch the pods, binge watch the reviews, binge watch the hot takes, binge watch the collabs, binge watch the game shows. And I've sorted it like a TV remote. On the community page, I always let you guys know my scent of the day, what I'm wearing, a story about it, any new video drops. Every day I probably post 2 to 5 times on the community page so that you guys, I also do polls. I'm going to be dropping some crazy material in 2026. That's why I built this additional studio and this additional fragrance library. And I'm going to have a lot of crazy content coming out in 2026 that I'm preparing for. And I am busting my tail to try to get done with all of my Decant reviews by the end of the year. That's why I've been dropping multiple videos a day now with you guys. I drop 1 to 2 long form videos every single day, 2 to 4 shorts every single day, 1 to 5 community posts every single day. I go live 2 to 3 times a week. We do giveaways every 1,000 subs. I mean, what more do you guys want from me? Let me know in the comments section below. If there's a question you asked tonight that I looked over by accident, put it in the comments section below. Anyone in here will tell you that I answer questions very quickly. There's no questions that I leave unanswered unless I just simply didn't see it, and in which case I do apologize. But hope you guys have a blessed rest of your week. Hope you had a decent Monday. Mine was all over the place. I wind up spending half the day in the hospital. But we're going to keep it moving. And until next time, stay tuned. And thank you guys so much for your questions, because if you didn't ask them, I wouldn't be here. Peace, guys.